As we wait for more details on the deadly mass shooting, local leaders are now weighing in on this horrible tragedy.
And one of them is Vice Mayor of San Jose, Charles Chappie Jones, joining us now in the wake of yesterday's shooting. Mr. Vice Mayor, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We haven't had a chance to chat with you yet. Let's first start off by getting your reaction to what happened.
Thank you, James and Raina, for having me come and speak this morning. We're still in a state of shock. It's still sinking in, the gravity of what happened, the impact that this is going to have on the families, and it's just devastating. And our hearts are broken, and we're grieving. I serve as vice chair on the VTA board, so it hits very close to home, as well as being the vice mayor of San Jose. And again, it's just still sinking in, the gravity of the incident.
Absolutely. Well, our hearts are going out to you and everybody that's involved in everything this morning, from the families and people that you're closely connected with. How are they doing? Understandably, very, very difficult morning for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's going to be hard for everyone moving forward. And as we know, these incidents keep happening over and over and over again. And I think as a society, we can become numb to the events. But I think when it hits close to home and, it impacts people that or people that are, friends or family or co-workers of the victims, it just really makes it very just impactful, knowing that someone is not going to be able to hold their loved one. Someone is not going to be able to see their daughter or son graduate or get married or, go on vacations or just spend time with each other and just say, I love you. They'll not be able to do that anymore. And it's just tragic and heartbreaking. And just imagining being the person that gets that call that says your loved one is no longer here with us is just devastating. And I just can't imagine, what that feels like to be able to have to get that call and knowing that you'll never see that person again.
You talked about how we seem to see this over and over again. There's the threat that we could become numb to it. A lot of folks just feel like pulling their hair out, asking, what can we do? What changes can be made to try and stop this from happening? You are in a position of leadership there in San Jose, Mayor Liccardo there with you. What sorts of things can city leaders do in the wake of tragedies like this to move the needle a bit? Have you guys discussed options in the past that you maybe have now renewed motivation to implement?
Well, as everyone knows, there's only so much that we could do at the local level. Most of this has to happen at the federal level or the state level, but there are some things we can do. So I've actually co-sponsored some potential solutions to address straw purchases by requiring gun sellers to have a video documentation of the purchases. We've proposed safe storage proposals to the city to try to prevent, children and people with mental illness from having access to guns that are kept at a home or in a car. So there are certain things that we can do, but to really move the needle and have a real impact, it's going to have to happen at the federal level or the state level.
And what would you like that to be? If you were to advise, let's say, President Biden or Governor Newsom, what would be your suggestion?
Well, one, to prevent the sale of semi-automatic weapons, assault weapons. I mean, there's no need for someone to have an assault weapon to protect their home or protect themselves or even to go hunting. I mean, they're guns that have no real purpose or use for civilians. Things like a national registry that prevents, certain types of gun sales, particularly at gun shows or private purchases of guns. I mean, there's a litany of things that they could do at the federal level that will not always prevent these incidents from ever happening, but definitely will make it more difficult for someone with mental illness or a criminal background to be able to purchase a gun and use it in these situations.
When we're talking about resources, and we've been talking about that all morning, for those who have witnessed this, been traumatized, the families, the children, all down there, what are some of the resources that you guys plan to bring in to help support them as they try to, cope with everything that's been going on?
So there's several things that we're doing. Obviously, we have we had the reunification effort going on yesterday. Now our goal is to support the victims' families however possible, whether it's mental health services, financial support, just being there for them. I mean, it's going to take a long time to heal, and for a lot of our employees, they'll never be the same. This event has changed their lives. So it's incumbent upon us, particularly VTA, to do whatever we can to support those employees and let them know that we're there for them every step of the way.
And before we let you go, do you have any final thoughts for the victims' families or friends or just the community at large trying to process what we've seen here in the last 24 hours?
Again, we're grieving. Our thoughts and prayers go out to all the victims' families. We understand that this is something that, unless it happens to you directly, I don't think anyone can fully comprehend the impact that this has on someone's life. But to the best of our ability, that, just want them to know that we're there for them. And I also want to say, too, that I want to commend our San Jose Police Department for their courage and bravery because of their rapid response, as well as the Sheriff's Department. They saved so many lives that we would have lost if they weren't as brave and courageous as they were. Now, there's that saying that the police department runs towards something that we're all running away from. And this is a perfect example of why that saying has so much meaning.
Mr. Vice Mayor, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Great. Thank you very much.
We'll be right back.